Hello, I'm Bruce Gilman. I am currently the president of the Sweetgrass Homeowners Association. My wife Susan and I moved here in 2014, so we've been here quite a while. Prior to that, I served as a senior executive in various companies, some international, some domestic, some public, some private. And looking forward to answering the questions that are going to be put forth to me today.
Thank you, Bruce. Thank you so much for taking some time to come and meet with me today. And we're going to go and just jump right into these questions. Okie dokie.
All right.
All right. Question number one. What encouraged you to submit your nomination or to rerun for the board?
Well, I'm rerunning, and I gave that some serious thought. I'm currently on the board, and I spent the last 2 years in that position. And weighing whether or not I should move forward, I came to the conclusion that I would, for many reasons. The main reason is that we negotiated and fought for a hard contract with CCMC, who's our managing company. And I want to see that all the terms and conditions that we negotiated are fulfilled. And I just want to be there to see that that happens. The other reason is that I have been very active with the Sweetgrass community since we came here. The first thing I did when I got here was to volunteer to join the ARC, and then subsequently a board with two people from Sweetgrass and 3 from the developer. Following that, the transition was about to occur. And so I moved to a position as the head of the transition committee, which I had applied for, and then subsequently applied for, was granted or awarded the position of board president elected by my fellow directors.
Thank you, Bruce. All right, next question is, what officer position do you believe would be best fit for your background and experience?
Well, my main background experience has been in senior management. And as I indicated before, I have been president and CEO or COO of several companies, both private and public, and have served also on panels of federal government panels. And I thought that that would be a good approach for my following years here. And I believe that if the other directors elected me, I would seek the position of president of the board again.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, next question is, how will you as a board member endeavor to maintain the value of our homes or community in Sweetgrass?
Well, one of the primary responsibilities of a board is to make sure that the assets of the community, both the hard assets of the HOA as well as the assets of the homeowners, is maintained. To do that requires a conformance to our governing documents, and those should be enforced, and I strongly believe in that.
All right, thank you. All right, next question is, are you prepared to strictly maintain the deed restrictions in Sweetgrass?
As I just mentioned, I believe those are very much required. We moved here with an obligation to adhere to these, and it not only keeps our property values up, but it keeps the general condition of the community up. There are things in there that range beyond just the conformance to property, but it's also performance of people interfacing with each other and the opportunities for clubs and other interests. So all of these things are part of it. But the main thing to enhance or increase the value is making sure that we adhere to our governing documents.
Thank you. Next question. What is your greatest professional achievement?
Well, that'll go back a few years. At one time, I was part of a 3-man turnaround team, as they say in the business. There was a public company in distress. The banks were about to take it over, and they brought in a team. And I was the chief operating officer of that team and had that position with the company. This was a substantial international company. And as a chief operating officer, I had a range all over the world with different offices ranging from Australia to Southeast Asia to Europe. And we finally, the team of us, finally managed to turn the company around, get the banks off their back. And that company exists today and is profitable and is one of the leaders in this field. So that's probably my best example of one of my professional accomplishments.
Thank you. Next question. Are you able to make the significant time commitment needed for this role?
That's a good point. If you're going to volunteer for a board of any type, and in particular a homeowner association board, you must be prepared to commit a substantial amount of your time. This is not an honorary position. This is a working board, and people on it have to work. I'm not saying you're working an 8 and 10 hour day again, but you have to put in a certain amount of time. In some cases, I've put in 15, 20 hours in a week. Some weeks, only a couple of 3, depends on. But the main thing is that even though you may not be here, our board members, and we have a great board right now, have been able to contact us, whether on cruise ships or in Europe or wherever they are. They have participated in some of the decisions. So an active board, you need to be prepared to participate at that level.
Thank you, Bruce. All right, next question. What do you see as disruptive forces impacting the community?
Well, there are several. Primarily, there seems to be an inclination for the disregard of some of the governing rules and the governing documents, I might say. And that's unfortunate because that could change the structure or the identity of Sweetgrass. So there's that. There's also the fact that this community around us is growing. Other developments are moving in at our doorstep. We've had the industrial park try to move it. Industrial park try to move in as well. Those are threats. We have the threats of crime. We have traffic problems. There are traffic problems consistent with the growth of the community and the fact that many public roads run through Sweetgrass. So these are all things which will affect it.
Thank you. Next question. What do you plan to do to make sure we do not lose valuable management team members?
One of the reasons that we selected CCMC was the fact that we have valuable team members of the management company here. It's important that they be retained. And the possibility exists, as it does with all things, at some future point, perhaps we might say that we want to change management companies. In the past, non-exempt, that is below the management level, employees of the management company were unable to seek a position outside of CCMC. That was one of the points we negotiated, and so if that should happen, and we pray it doesn't, the very scarce manpower, the trained people that are here, would be free if they wished to go with a company that succeeded. The other thing, frankly, is that we need to treat our employees, or the employees of CCMC, a little bit better. I've seen some incidents where it's just disrespectful and almost insulting with some of our homeowners dealing with them. So mutual respect is appreciated.
All right, thank you, Bruce. Next question. What is one thing you would like to see done differently next year, and one thing you would like to continue as is?
Well, we've made progress with the communications, and that, of course, if you know me, that's one of my sore points. We've done much, much better. We've added staff to that position, but ultimately, CCMC has promised to make some further adjustments. And I'm talking about things like push technology, where in their agreement, that's one of the things, for example, we all have cell phones and computers, and you all get notices of missing children, accidents, natural disasters, which are pushed to your smartphones. We want to see that implemented, and that's part of the promise. That's something that we need to see happen. We need to see the website change, perhaps. It's under review right now. Perhaps it'll change completely. I think it's archaic. I've done websites in the past myself. It's not up to today's industry standards. And so first thing CCMC is doing is to examine that and perhaps propose things to the board to enhance those. But communications, that needs some work. The thing I'm proud of and I want to see continued and enhanced is our neighborhood advisory committee, which are comprised of representatives from all the neighborhoods. That is an adjunct to the board. That's direct response from the homeowners through these neighborhood reps directly to the board. They're free to contact us at any time, and we also have quarterly meetings where all the NAC or the Neighborhood Association committee members join with the members of the board and have an open discussion around the table on events, current and future.
Thank you, Bruce. Last question. Please share an example of how you have done your part in leading by example of Sweetgrass.
Well, it goes back to when I first moved here. I looked for opportunities to volunteer, and there were many opportunities here. I mentioned the first thing I did was to look around and saw that they were looking for people on the Architecture Review Committee. I also have a professional engineering license. It's inactive at the moment because I don't practice it anymore, but the ARC seemed like a logical fit for my abilities, so I applied for that and was selected. There was an opening on the board of directors at that time. As I mentioned, again, this was a Pulte board, and I put my name forward and was elected, and two of us were against the three Pulte, and we did the best we could. Following that, the transition was coming very quickly. Pulte was leaving, and Sweetgrass was going to be taken over by its homeowners, and they were looking for someone to head up that team, the transition team. I was selected and appointed the chairman of that team, and we did a very successful job, including getting Pulte to pay for all of the exterior refurbishment and replacement of all the columns in the outside of the facade of the buildings. So that was something else. Then I applied for the current board and was elected. The point is that there are many, many opportunities here in clubs and special interest groups and just general volunteers things. And I think I've set the example by stepping forward, and we look forward to more people getting involved in the community.
Thank you, Bruce. All right, well, that concludes our top 10 questions. Do you have a final statement you'd like to leave with residents?
I do. My final statement is I would like to join this board again. I think we have a great board, and I'd like to be a part of it again.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Bruce. And ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to vote. You have a great rest of your day. Bruce, thanks again.
Thank you.